Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
I think
Hello,
now,
good evening. Can you hear my voice? Can you hear my voice?
yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ms. Dachani from Contract and Planning Department. Tonight, we are happy to gather here to attend the training for Primavera P6, which lasts for 10 days following the training calendar. For efficient learning, we have created a week chat group for sharing and communicating. Now, please allow me to introduce the Deputy Director of EPC Management Department, Mr. Wu Xiaoqing, who will give us a brief introduction on the lecturer and formally announce the opening of the training. Mr. Wu Xiaoqing.
Thanks, Dai. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so thanks everyone for your time to join this training. And before this training, I would like to thank Mr. Umeo, Mr. Shen, Ms. Dai, and Mr. Jing, who put their effort to prepare this training on behalf of the department and Mr. Shen. So thank you to organize this training course for the purpose of building planning and control skills and the P6 software as a part of the skill improvement campaign of this year, 2021. So before the training, I think to make it short, I believe everyone has realized that the planning and the control are the critical management activities. But to be honest, I'm sorry to say, on the other hand, talking about HDC and especially for our department, we lack this knowledge and skills. And it is exactly what we need to improve right now. So today we invite Mr. Umel from our KSA project, who has 11 years of experience in planning and control, to give us a basic training. So maybe I believe some of you have already some basic knowledge or may have know this sector of the software during your previous experience. But considering the majority of our attendance today, so this course will start from zero. And today, let me check how many attendance we have more than 60 attendance already, and I hope you can start from the day one to the end. To be honest, it is a added value to your personal skills as well, even for your future career, right? So, and also we have some guys who is nominated by the department. You have to attend all the course for this 10 days mandatory, and we will have an examination at the end of this training, and the score will report to the management level. I think every department have this list, right? I believe around 10 colleagues or something like that. Okay, now the mic is yours, Mr. Umil. Please start. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wu, for introducing and giving this opportunity to learn for all of us. So first, this training has two parts. One is project planning and controlling, and we will just go for its introduction, a brief introduction to what is project control and planning. Then we will move to the Primavera P6. We will have its terminologies, introductions, overview, and then we will go to the exercise. So first we will start, and I share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So project management is the backbone of every project. And objective of this presentation is to explain the basic concept of project management, and you will be introduced to project planning and control and tools and techniques we use for planning and control in project management. This is the course content which we will be covered in this presentation. And in this picture, you can see what are the major portions of the project management. Project management consists of all the it is an integral part of every project. All these elements in this picture shows what is the project management. Project management is the backbone of the project. If it covers all the aspect of the project. This is the definition of project management. Project management is the process of leading the work of a team to achieve goal and meet success criteria at a specified time. So project management has some limits. It is not an endless job. It has some targets. If you are a good project manager, you achieve your targets, and whether your targets are as per cost or it can be as per time. So if you achieve your targets, you are a good project manager. If you do not achieve it, it means you have to improve your skills. The primary challenge of project management is to achieve all the project goals within the given constraint, whether it can be time, whether it can be cost, whether it can be some certain quality work. So you have to achieve your goals, and to achieve your goals, you have implement a management system on your project, which is called project management. And here we are discussing some aspects of project management, which are communication, teamwork, analysis, budget, planning, problem solving, milestones, control, risk, goals, deadlines. I hope you are familiar with them. And most of them have been using this in your daily routine work. How many of you are familiar with the communication? What communication aspect is in project management? Anyone can answer? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Are you listening?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We are all
Anyone
listening.
anyone of you want to explain what is the function of communication in project management? Why it is the part of project management? Okay. Communication is basically the one of the key aspect of project management. What is the reason for it? Because you have to deal with your client, you have to deal with your internal team, you have to deal with your subcontractors. If you have a good communication, you build a good teams, you appreciate your peoples, you even sometimes you push them, and you have to solve their problems by communicating well. If you communicate well within your team, with the client, it will be helpful for your project. So that's why communication is the part of project management. Next is teamwork. Why teamwork? Because a project not is a single person job. It is a team job. If you have a good team, you will do your project successfully. If you cannot build your team well, you will struck one day or another day, you will struck in your project. So project is not a single person job. It's a teamwork job. Whichever project you will take, you have to build a good team to complete your project. Next thing is analysis. Analysis is the basis of a project. You keep your analysis, whether you have to do this project, when you are taking the project, during the project, you do keep on analyzing where you are lacking, where you have to improve. And after the project, even you do some lesson learned. All these analyses help to improve your skills, your project management. Next thing is budget, the most important part of every project management. No one want to do a project in loss. Every company want to do project for profit, for gain. So budget is most important part. If you give some gain to your company, you are a good project manager for your company. If you are doing the project in loss, you have no worth for your company. And next thing is planning. Planning is, of course, what to guide the project manager, how to go, and he drives the path for him throughout the project. And problem solving, you have to be solving the problems, whether it is in your department or inter-department, whatever, you have to be a bridge for problem solving to have a good project management skills. And milestones, of course, every project has milestones. You have to achieve the milestones. Control and planning is something same. And you can say once you plan something, then you have to control it. If you plan, you are going to do this in 100 days, you have to control so that you do it in 100 days. It's not enough to plan something. You have to control and achieve that also to be a good project manager. Then next thing is risk. Every project has risk. A good project manager analyze and record his risk and do the mitigation actions to minimize his risk. That is a good project manager. Goals, every project has goal. You achieve some goals, and then that's why you complete your project. Every project has deadlines. So this is the major aspect of project management which you deal in your daily routine when you are in while you are dealing as a project manager or planning and control manager or planning engineer. You have to deal with these things. So this is the basic introduction for project management. Only a brief introduction. It's a very vast field, and there are a lot of books, lot of certification being done in project management field, and we are just having an introduction to this, and then we will move on. These are some tools and techniques for project management. Basically, these tools are here to help the project manager or project management team to achieve his goals. So basically, there are three types of techniques. One is project charter, scope statement, and WBS. What is this? What help him this to understand the team is the scope. By these three things, they can understand what is their scope, what they have to do. And then after you understand what you have to do, then next thing is how to do, which you get from the Gantt chart, network diagram, critical path analysis, critical chain scheduling, which shows the time and your path, how to do the things, which activity to do first, which to do later. So this is the second thing. And the next thing is cost estimate and revenue value management and value management. Next thing is regarding the most important cost thing. How you have planned, how much you have planned, how you are spending, and what you are saving. And what are your earned value analysis? Earned value analysis for, if they are good, then you are a good project manager. If they are bad, then you are a bad project manager. So if you have to keep your, if you have to improve your project management skills, you have to work in these three techniques. So here we will go for planning and control majorly. After it, we are covering the planning and control portion majorly after it. Next thing is what is a project? A project is a temporary endeavor attempt undertaken to create a unique project, service, or result. So the basic major characteristics of a project is it is a unique work. It's temporary and it's progressive elaboration. Why it is unique? Because every project is different from other project. Whether it might have the same nature of work, but their timeline might be different. Their milestones will be different. Their goals will be different, and it's temporary. Project work is normally temporary work. If you have to do every work on daily basis, it goes to the production. It is not called the project then. A project is only one-time activity, and it's unique activity, and it's progressive elaboration activity. So I hope you have the clear understanding of project. If someone have any questions until now, he can ask. Otherwise, we move forward.
Mr.
Can you elaborate the term like progressive elaboration, please?
Basically, a project is done for some progressive elaboration means it has some objectives. Whether it has to achieve some certain progress level, it has to achieve some certain output or productions. So that is why it's called progressive elaboration, because it will have some output. If we are doing some PV plant, then it will have some certain output of electricity. If we are having some wind plant, again, or if we have some cement plant, it will have some certain output of cement production. So that's why it is called progressive elaboration.
Hi, Mr. Umair.
Yes.
This is Lu. I'm from Vietnam. So a little bit advice for you. So please speak a little bit slower because
Okay.
you have a little bit Pakistani accent, right? So it's maybe difficult for these people from other countries to understand.
You should
Yeah.
tell me
Basically, this
earlier.
is not about the. This is because some of our colleagues, they may not so good at English, whatever is from
No problem.
Pakistan English
No
or Chinese
problem.
English, because all of us is not native speaker, right? It is fully understood. So we can be a little bit slower. And one more thing I just come to my mind is basically this project control and planning and the project management skill is not only for I think not only the skill for the planner and the planning engineer or other planning manager. It is, I think, all of our the project management team, like site manager, project manager, basically all of us who is involved in the project management should be familiar, at least know the basic knowledge about this control and planning. So I think it is the purpose of this training as well. This I forget to emphasize this in the beginning. Okay, so please continue, Mr. Umair. You can continue. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next we go for the classification of projects. Every company has its own criteria. There is no hit and hard rule for classification of projects. So every company has his own criteria to divide the divisions in itself, how he divides the projects. So in some companies, we divide the project on the basis of nature, what type of project they are. Either they are some hydropower projects, or they are some thermal power projects, or they are solar power projects. Some companies have even division on the basis of duration, short term, long term, medium term projects. They terms 1.5 year project as short term, 2 to 3 years as medium term, more than 5 years as long term, 3 to 5, 7, 5, 6 years as long term. So some companies do it on the basis of construction, whether it's what type of construction is involved in this project. So it's either oil and gas company project. So they have to do it on the basis of what type of construction activities or construction equipment involved in it. They do it on that basis. So this is not a hard and fast rule. This is just a general indication how some companies classify the project. Next thing is the project phases. There are basically 5 phases of a project. First is conceptual phase or formulation phase, and second one is planning phase. Third is implementation and execution phase. Fourth is controlling and termination phase. Fifth one is closure phase. So first conceptual phase or formulation phase is for an EPC project. You can say your bidding purpose, your bidding phase is, you can term it as conceptual or formulation phase. And then after the bidding, you start planning. The project, you make schedules and you align your resources. That is planning phase. And you collect your bids and look for your vendors or material vendors. This is planning phase. Third is implementation and execution phase. What you have planned, you implement it and execute it on the field. This is an implementation and execution phase. It might be on field or off field also. If you have some onshore material, you start it in its fabrication in workshop, that is all in execution phase. Fourth is controlling and termination phase. Controlling normally continue throughout after in the implementation phase and then on the commissioning phase, and you keep on controlling the things and as per your schedule. And termination phase is normally your pre-commissioning and commissioning and closing of the and handing over and closing is last phase, that is closure phase, in which you sign your COD and ICOD as per your contract, that is the closure phase. So these are 5 phases which are normally in every project, whether it is wind project or it's PV plant or whichever project. These are the basic life cycle of a project. Next is some common characteristics of a project. Here are enlisted some characteristics, some things which define a project. One is its objective. What is the objective of the project? What you are going to do it? And what is the purpose behind doing this project? And what is your goal? Next one is investment. And third is define start and end date, which is very important in project, that what is its start and end date. Normally it is the biggest milestone in every project. Fourth is space and location. Fifth is system life cycle, uniqueness, constraint. What are the constraints in projects? For constraint, normally there are constraints are defined basically what are the things which you need to do your activities. Whether these constraints can be some work permits, these constraints, some information from the client side. These constraints can be some information from other third parties. So these are constraints. Without achieving them, you cannot start your work. Now, teamwork, we have already discussed. Flexibility, structure. What is the structure you define in your project? We will discuss it further while we are doing the P6. Contracting and subcontracting, beneficiaries, temporary, dynamics, and realistic and reasonable. So these are the some characteristics of the project which defines the project. The next thing is who is the custodian of the project? Who is the person responsible? Normally, in most of the companies, it's the project manager which is given the responsibility to lead the project. So project manager, project cannot be completed within time, cost, and quality unless a good project manager run the project. So as I already told, there are 3 aspects: time, cost, and quality for every project. Project manager is delegated the authority of general manager in order to accomplish the desired objective successfully. Project manager is the key person of whole project and responsible to complete the project within time frame, project cost, and required quality. Project manager may make or break the project. Sorry. This is very important because he has all the authority. His decisions might make or break the projects. Here are this line which shows the project managers aim to achieve its mission by managing time and progress, cost and cash flow, quality and performance, organizational behavior with the help of organization resources, which resources he has available from his organization. By planning resources, scheduling resources, organizing resources, directing resources, monitoring resources, and controlling resources. within quality constraint, time constraint, cost constraint, and environment constraint. So these first thing is his actions. By managing these things, these are his actions. But within quality, time, cost, and environment is his duties, his goals. So we have discussed what is the project and who is the custodian of the project. There is one more thing. What is the main cause of project failure? Every project does not complete as planned. There is some lapse of cost or some lapse of time or quality. So there are very few projects which do as we plan in the initial phases. So we will here just have a brief note what is the reason for it. So it is common to see a project failing to achieve its mission of creating a facility within specified cost and time. Hardly few projects get completed in time and with original cost. So there is an example also that sorry, 50% project normally has the cost overrun and 49% normally has the time overrun. So this is a study which is done in India and this is their finding. So what is the basic reasons why this project do not complete as planned? There are 4 reasons basically in it. One is inadequate project formulation. And what is the meaning of this? There might be 4 or 5 reasons which are defining it. One is poor field investigations. The basis on which we started the project might not be very good. We are going to have a piling and might be there will be very hard rock surface here, which might have overrun the cost, which is the failure of the project. And then next is inadequate project information. Same example we might have while on the bid stage, we might not have the best information and we have quoted the less price, while our cost might be higher than our price. Inadequate project analysis. For most of the companies, they keep the data of their past projects. Oh, sorry, I was having a little sore throat for the last 2 days.
It's okay. It's okay.
Inadequate project analysis. Some companies, most of the companies have analysis for their past projects. For example, if I take HDC as an example, they have done 4 or 5 PV plants. So while they are bidding another PV plant in Oman or Qatar, they might take the data from their past projects and the analysis, okay, we did this job in 100 million in that project, we can do it in 120 million here in Qatar. But if their data analysis is poor, they might be costing the poor price, less price. So it might be a factor for their cost overrun. Poor investment decisions. Sometimes there are some projects which companies should leave because they might not be interested in their favor. So these are some inadequate project formulations which are normally this normally covers at the bidding stage. These decisions are done in the bidding stage. Next is poor planning for implementation. And here you have inadequate timeline. You have a project which you have to do in 4 months, but you plan in 4 months, but that might be not possible on ground. So this is inadequate time plan. Inadequate resource plan. You plan a project in 4 months and plan 2,000 man hours for it, but actually you have to plan 5,000 man hours. It is the fault of planning team here. Poor organizations. poor cost planning. So these are some planning fault. While after the bidding stage, while planning the project, if planning team is not considering all the impacts, then you might be under planning the resources, under planning the manpower, or you do not have enough organization strength, which can cause poor planning implementation. Lack of proper contract planning or poor contract awards, and lack of project management during execution. The next stage is normally for EPC projects, we do our work to other subcontractors and contractors. If our contract departments does not do their homework adequately, and we do not have good contractors, and we do not have their analysis available with us, then it can also lead to failure during the execution phase for our project. So these are the major factors which are normally seen as a failure of the project. This failure can be due to cost overrun or due to time overrun. So we have gone through the overview of project planning and project and what is a project. And after this, I have explained what is a project. Now we go to the project planning. Planning, what is the planning? What is its purpose? Why we do the planning work? Planning basically decides in advance. These are the some questions which planning know: what, why, when, how, who, where. You have to know all these, answer of all these before the start of your execution work. Otherwise, you will get stuck while doing the execution work. If you do not do your planning work complete before starting the work, you will stuck, and it will lead to your failure. Basically, in planning, we set the future course of actions or set the objectives, set the guidelines to guide all the personnel involved in project team to a right track, put the plan on calendar date scale, and schedule when the plan activities are to be carried. So in project planning, basically project planning is the brain of the project. We are the one who guide the project where to go. We are the one who will tell which activities to perform this month, which activities are going to perform next month, which activities will be critical. If we do not do it on time, we will stuck. We will delay our project. It will overrun in cost, it will overrun in time. So we are the brain, we have to drive the project. So similarly, the objective of planning is complete the project successfully within the specified time, budget, and required performance. Purpose of project planning: to complete, define all work required so that it will be ready, identifiable to project participant. To eliminate or reduce uncertainty. To improve efficiency of the operation. Obtain a better understanding of the objective. To provide a basis for monitoring and controlling work. When we make a schedule, we cover all these points in it. When a person has our schedule, when our person has our schedule in his hand, he can get answer for all these questions from that schedule. He can, it's all the work is defined in the schedule. He will not have any uncertainty that whether I have to do this activity today or tomorrow or day after tomorrow. When he do the activity as per schedule, it will improve its efficiency. It will improve overall efficiency of the work, and he can have understanding which is my objective, what I have to do in this week. If he has the schedule, he can know what I have to do in this week, what I have to do in next week, and he can monitor and control all his work. He know that I have to do all these seven activities in this week, so he will do that 7 activities in this week. He can control them. He can do one activity earlier or later, but he controlled them and meet his target for the week. Here are some areas of project planning: human resource planning, financial planning, inventory planning, effective information planning, material planning, and equipment planning. So these are involved, these are all the areas of planning and involving different companies in different shapes. So next phase is what is the, when I have a project in my hand and I have to start its planning, what I should do, from where I should start, what will be the first thing I will be looking for, how, well, from where I will take the road and start moving. So these are the some steps which define how to move for planning a project, how to start planning the project. First is define the scope of work to be performed. You should know what is your scope, what you have to do in the for your project. Identifying the activities involved and assessing the approximate quantities of physical resource needed activity-wise. When you have your scope defined, you list down all the activities you have to do for completing that work. And what are the resources you need? Either how many machines you need, how many manpower you need. Preparing the logic or network diagram to establish a relationship among activities and integrating these activities to help the project network or models. So when you are doing a work, it might be, it not be a single activity. It will be a series of activities which are linked with each other. Some activities should be done when the other activities start. If that activity is not done, other activity will not start. They will be linked with each other. That's called their relationship. We will discuss all these terminologies in detail when we will move to the P6 after this. And we will discuss how all types of relationships and further in detail. Analyze the project network or model to determine project duration and identify critical and non-critical activities. So normally when end date of the project is normally defined in your scope work, that is given in your milestone as your goal. But to achieve that milestone, there are 100, or for example, there are 50 activities you have to do. So you have to adjust the time frame of every activity so that you achieve your goal, your milestone. Well, some activities might take 4 days, some take 7 days. It is done, normally it is done on the basis of experience and on the available past analysis, that how much time is required how much time is required to perform one activity. Exploring trade-off between time and cost to arrive the optimal time and cost for completing the project. Similarly, you have to, if you are doing some work earlier, then it might have more cost. So if you have to do some work in 3 months and you will do it in 2 months, you will be deploying more resources than what you have planned on the bid stage. Then your cost might be more. So if you have to be on optimization phase, that neither your cost increase nor your time goes beyond your milestone. Establishing standards for planning and controlling man, material, equipments. Basically, it's not only that you have to plan the resources, you have to control them also. You have to control your manpower, materials, equipment, and cost. If you control them, then you will be able to complete your project. Forecasting input resources, production cost, and value of work, assigning physical resources like men. And these are all the activities which we do, and we will do it in P6 also. Forecasting the project budget and budget allocation, designing a control system for organization. This is very important, that how your project will be controlled. It might not be, every person will not be a site manager. and he will not be working independently and taking decisions. So there will be a complete organizational chart. It will be project managers, then site managers, engineers, and supervisors like this. So, and everyone has his own JDs. It will be defined on every OBS level that who will be taking the decisions and who will be implementing them, who will be controlling them. So this is our presentation today for project planning and controlling. We will keep on continuing exploring this aspect further on every day. So instead of just keeping all the theory and you might get bored so much, so we should also go to the exercise side also, so that you keep fresh. Now we start move to the other. Now we from here we will shift and give some time to the Primavera P6. That is one of the major software which is being used across the world for project planning and scheduling.
Sorry, Mr. Umil, I have one question basically, because normally
Yes,
people
yes.
are talking about L2 to L4 schedule. So because in your presentation it didn't cover this
It has.
topics.
It has.
Yes, right?
Okay.
In the
I
following
was
slide.
keeping that for tomorrow.
Okay.
If
Okay, good. No problem. You can
we
continue.
will cover that topic also.
Yeah. If we have time here, we just
We have covered that in P6 presentation.
Okay, fine.
Actually, my intention was now if we move to the P6 now and give some time to P6 also. Otherwise, people will
Right.
get bored to listen project management only.
Right.
Then
Okay, thank you.
tomorrow we will again continue to this project management.
哎，少强，你说有这个举手的这个功能，我没看到呀。
Okay.
给你打个样啊。Can you see my hands up here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, please
So
speak.
people who have questions, we can raise your hands so we can organize the meeting. Otherwise, some guys will conflict.
Okay. At the end, we can have 10 minutes for answer question, or we should keep on in the middle.
Maybe people have questions during your presentation, so let them hands up, so we can see.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. No, anyone have any questions, or we should move further?
No hands up, please move. Thank you.
Okay, for planning, and now we are talking about planning and control. In planning and control, there are many softwares which are used across the world, and Primavera P6 is one of them, which is widely used around the world. So MS Project is also used in some countries. In many companies to use MS Project also. Some use Primavera. In this Primavera exercise, we will cover these contents. We will have an introduction to P6. What is the advantage of using the P6? What is activity network and chart? Understanding activity attributes, activity relationships. What are the relationships between the activities? Activity constraint. These are the things which we have discussed already in project management presentation already. I have given you a brief introduction to them. Here you will see the details, how you implement them in your schedule. Then next is critical path method. This is a method used to know which activities are critical for your project, how to monitor your project. There is structuring project using P6, and then we will also doing an exercise in this course. Today I will, with the project management, I just want to give you an introduction to Primavera P6. Primavera is a worldwide renowned tool used for multi-project planning, monitoring, and forecasting. It's built on Oracle and Microsoft SQL Server database for enterprise-wide project management. It enables organization to store and manage projects in its central location. Supports WBS work breakdown structure, WBS organizational breakdown structure, OBS, user-defined fields, scores, critical path method, scheduling and resourcing labeling. Currently, Primavera 20.12 version is being used worldwide, which is the latest one. And for this, some of us are using this as a standalone, but some companies use it on their central database. So all the projects which people make it, they store in their database, and everyone with their scoring protocols can access them. And in the central database, there is the company OBS and company related WBS, which you can use it. And so you can access the multiple projects if you have a central database for which you can access. So here are some projects which you can use from Primavera. And normally we use Primavera P6 Professional Project Management for project scheduling, and other things normally are not used very frequently on the projects. Primavera Project Management, it provides EPS. EPS is Enterprise Project Structure. We have the detailed overview for all of them in next slides. So currently I will just go with their introduction only to you, so that you can know their names and you just get familiar to them. In the next slides, I will show you what is EPS in P6 and what is its purpose, what is its benefit. So currently I am just giving you an overview. These are some major terms which we will be using in next 10 days. EPS, Organizational Breakdown Structure, OBS, Centralized Resource Management, RBS, Work Product and Documents, and Report Wizard. So these are some advantage for Primavera P6. This is the layout and for P6. When you open up P6, only this type of layout come here. Here I will explain. This is the activity bar. Here you can find some activities here which we use during the project. You can add or customize this bar as per your requirement. This is further detail I will show you when we will start working on the P6. This is the activity area. Here you enter all your activities. This is the directory bar. This is the details. When you click on your activities, all its detail come down here. From here, you assign what its activity type, its status, either it is started, not started, or what type of duration you want. And you assign his resources, predecessor, successor. So you can assign activity codes from here. So for every activity, all its data is in this detail here. You click here, then this detail bar comes here. This is the icon for this detail bar. Can you see the cursor?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay. This you click on this detail. It's better if I open the P6. Okay, this is just a random open project. So this is the detail bar which I was referring. You click here, then this detail bar come here. This is the icon for details. I click here, this has come. Now on any activity, I can click on the activity and I can choose whatever I want, which information I want to enter for that activity. We will discuss for all these in the next slides, that what are the activity types, what is duration type, what is percentage complete. We will discuss it in the next slides. This is the status bar. This is resource, and you enter the resource here. This is predecessor. This is successor. What is predecessor and successor? Predecessor is the activity which you have to complete before the start of that activity. It is called predecessor activity. What is successor? The next activity to this activity is the successor activity. So this below is the status bar, which shows what is status, and this is the Gantt chart, which shows your project bars here. Here you can see from here there is different colors which defines your project activities. Normally the red color is shown that these activities are on critical path. So what is the critical path? We will see in few next hopefully tomorrow. And this is the command bar here on this side. From if you are here, this is the command bar. This is command bar. So what is normally we add the activity from here, or we add the resource or something like this. Whatever commands you want to do, we do from this bar. So what is the advantage of using P6? As I already told this, it is centralized project repository. With all the projects in centralized database, the robust or strong security module protect project data and offer flexibility when determining who can access each project. So I already told you that in P6, we have the option that we have a centralized database on which everyone everyone has to create his account. He has some security set for him, so login and password. He give that login and password and enter the system. He create his own project in the specified EPS and work on it. So, and whether he's in whichever company, he can work on it. Another person also access the database, and if he has the security protocol that he can see that project, he can open it on his own computer and he do not have to import the project in his own system. He will just open it and do his work, and he can see the progress. And next thing is EPS structure and codes. A configurable EPS enterprise project structures help form the hierarchical structure of the project based on your organizational needs. So in EPS is basically your organizational enterprise project structures. So if I am just talking about HDEC, it might have three, I say it has three divisions. One is for hydro projects, one EPS. Second node is for power projects. Third node is for coal projects or cement projects. So these are three nodes, three branches of its EPS. So for cement projects, I will go for cement project, and I will create my project in that EPS. If I want to create in hydro projects, I will create in hydro project EPS. So EPS is basically the company enterprise projects, company structure. Project codes help capture different attributes of projects, such as the region where the project is being executed or the type of the project. So when in the EPS, you also have the option you define the projects, you can define its region, or you can define its type also. We will go there, these slides later, and then it will be further clear to you. Another advantage of P6 is float path analysis. Float path analysis identify all critical paths within a project to help avoid potential delays before they occur and to help visualize an activity's importance to overall project plan. So float path analysis in P6, we have the option to have analysis, multiple float path analysis, which shows us that this activities has this much float, this activities has this much float, this activities has this much float. So we should know that if we delay this activity by 4 days, it will go beyond our milestone. If we delay this activity beyond 7 days, it will go beyond our milestone. So we can analyze them, and then we can have them at what action we should take. We can either have to reduce this activity duration, we should have some early start, or we should increase some resources. So these are the float path analysis. Next advantage of P6 is resource assignment. When project resource needs have been determined, they can easily be assigned to schedule activities. P6 tracks labor, material, equipment, and expense needed for activities and WBS nodes. So when you have your scope clear, then the next thing you calculate is the resources required for completing that scope, that work. If I have to I have to build a machine, and I need 4,000 man hours, and I need 2 cranes, I need 2,000 tons of steel, so I can calculate all these resources. And then I have the option to load all these resources in their activities. In their relevant activities, I can put that resources. For example, in fabrication of fabrication of steel, I can put the steel material and labor there. In their installation, I can put labor and crane there. So I have this advantage that I can assign the resources in P6. Another advantage is baseline management. We make a project, and at the beginning of the project, and then we freeze it with the client or our management, whoever is the deciding authority. We freeze it with them, and then we assign it as a baseline. We have this option in the project. After 1 month, 2 months, whatever is the criteria, when we update the project, some activities slip from their planned dates, some move back. So we can have the advantage that we have our original plan freeze in P6, and we can see a comparison between our original freeze plan and current progress. So this is also an advantage. There are 3 baselines which we can attach, maximum 3 number of baselines, not only 1. Total 3 baselines we can attach. What is the benefit? One we assign at the, for example, one we assign at the beginning of the project. Then after 6 months, we make another forecast, latest forecast, that now this is our new project schedule. Then we can also assign it as secondary baseline. After 6 months, again, we make another schedule, updated schedule. We can assign it at a tertiary baseline. So we can compare our current schedule with 3 baselines. Another example is we can integrate this software with other softwares. For example, in some companies using ERP, they are integrating P6 with SAP PS module. So what is the advantage of it? They can get the activities from P6, and they know that these activities are going to come these months, and accordingly they can plan their finance accordingly, or they can plan their material accordingly. So in some companies, they even integrate it with other softwares also. And one other advantage is we have a report wizard in it. Some reports are automatically made in it, or we can even customize the report as per our own requirement. So we can make reports from it as per our requirement. Either it can be a look-ahead plan of 2 weeks. It can be a resource requirement for next 1 month, something like this, whatever is the requirement, we can generate some reports from it. So these are the some advantage which we are having from the P6. So, Mr. Wu, are we going to continue for another hour, or we should continue tomorrow?
Did you finish as your plan, as the schedule?
Okay.
Because they already 1 hour, but as I suggest you can, as per your schedule.
As per schedule, I think I have covered all what we have planned for today.
Okay, so I believe everyone has installed this software. So
Yes,
do
next
you
thing,
have any difficulties in the software installation? We can discuss. So everyone has installed your software, right? Because tomorrow we will start directly based on the installed software. Another suggestion, Mr. Umair, I think because maybe tomorrow you will start from something like one example, right?
yes.
Small project. So do you think it's better to share this small project in advance so we can follow the same project? Otherwise, everyone, for example, when I open the software, maybe the content is different. So
Okay.
it's difficult for
Okay.
people to follow you.
Okay. Okay. I will share in advance.
Yeah. So we start from the same project with all the same details, then people can follow closely. Otherwise, maybe have some.
Okay. Okay. It's good suggestion. Actually, either they can see the shared screen, or if they want to open on their own P6 here, they can do it also. Okay, I will share in advance tomorrow.
Did you in the group? Okay, I will invite you in the group. You just share in the WeChat group so everybody
Okay.
can receive the file. Thank you. So anybody have questions?
I fear everyone has slept down by listening so much.
No problem. Today just a warm up. Okay, so if no questions, we can close the meeting today, and same time tomorrow we can continue. Thank you, everyone. Okay.
Ladies and
Thank you.
gentlemen, thank you
ma'am.
again. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Have a nice night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.